Alright, hello. Today, I am going to be making a Muck tutorial guide. Amazing. Be making some Muck fan art in the background. With my mouse, of course, because what do you think I'm using? Ha. Yeah, no, drawing tablets are for nerds. Anyways, I'm joking. Anyways, so on with the Muck Guide. So, if it's like your first time playing Muck, then I'll tell you this. Some of the things I'm gonna say might be a bit hard for you to grasp, unless you're like really good at using Lost or something. Anyways, so I'm just gonna go over essentially like the basics, right? So I'm gonna split this into multiple episodes, I guess, because look, I need to milk the views, bro. Anyways, so when you're playing the game, there are 3 difficulties to choose from. In fact, I'll open the game. Alright, so opening the game here. Yep, here we go. It'll load up, and you'll see this, the main menu. You will most likely be attracted to the left, where you will see all of the buttons. Quit, obviously, you'll leave the game. This, yeah, just about, you know, all that cool stuff. Settings, there are quite a few, and I will sit on each of these for 10 seconds. I will say though, about this one, sensitivity specifically, I will say that for me personally, I have to like use my right click to constantly change my camera angle, because the sensitivity just doesn't follow my mouse well enough. Or no, you don't have to press right click or hold it to move your camera, but still. And then controls. Pretty obviously we have all of this. I have heard of a feature to like check your ping or FPS or something. I am not sure if it's actually in the game, but I have heard of it. Graphics, obviously, just graphics. And if you're wondering, by the way, this music is not in the actual game. It's by one of my friends. Anyway, we have all this with where's max FPS, and then audio. Very simple. Now, this where it gets interesting into the main game. So, you can either join a lobby, which would require somebody else to host a lobby. So, you would host a lobby, display you. And there are 3 difficulties: easy, normal, and gamer. Now, with the new version 1.05 update, you can now see the full lobby ID and copy it to clipboard. And you can make your own custom seed, which I think, I'm not completely sure, does register words as seeds. So you can put something stupid like well, this is the name of an item in the game, a Sugan Shroom. That would work as a seed. And let's touch on the difficulties first. So they're easy, normal, and gamer. With easy, there are way less mobs at nighttime, and Big Chunk, who is the, I guess you could call the final boss of the game, Big Chunk spawns, I think, 5 to 6 nights after you first start the game. So when you're on day 6 or day 5, on that night he would spawn in, with roughly, I think, around 1,500 to 2,000 health. Normal is normal. There is a regular amount of enemies, and Big Chunk will spawn on day 4 or day 5. And Gamer, which is much harder than these two, has Big Chunk spawning on day 3 every time, and there are 2 times as many enemies as normal. Now, player damage, I'm not sure if it doesn't work properly or something, but I think it has something to do with players damaging each other. I'm not 100% sure, but I always turn it on just to be safe. And even if you turn it off, enemies will still damage the player, and you can still like hit trees and stuff. But I have not tested if when it's off in multiplayer, like it'll hurt other people. And now onto the game modes. There is survival, versus, and creative. With survival, you have the base game. With versus, you need at least one other person, so at least 2 people, and it is essentially a battle royale game. So you will be spawned randomly on the map, and there will be a red border that will be pushing you in. Essentially, it's Fortnite, but without the guns, and you use swords instead of guns and stuff. And then creative is survival, except no enemies. That's it. I'm not sure if battle totems are in. Most likely they are still in, but no, yeah. If I remember correctly, when I played this once or twice, battle totems were still in. Now, I've explained all this. I'm going to choose normal and go into creative, so I can show you the game. So yep, you would load, do all of this, and yes, you'd ready up here. That screen you just saw with my name and a ready and loading sign, that is to show, like, if you're playing with multiple people, there will be more than one name tag and loading screen. And once everybody is loaded, the world will be seen and you can interact with it. Now, of course, tab, as you just saw, tab is to open the inventory with a 7x3 inventory. So, pretty big. And a sizable hotbar. Now, in this game, you can put arrows in this slot in order to shoot bows. You cannot shoot bows without putting arrows in the slot. And shield has not been put into the game yet. At least in any and every video and every playthrough I've had, I've never gotten a shield before. And this is just to show everything. Now, if you see on this corner, you have my name and my health bar. There would be more people, the more people you have in the server or lobby, and I think the maximum is 5. And this day will go up accordingly for, I think, forever. I have not seen anybody who has indefinitely gotten like an infinite amount of days, essentially. And this time, when it hits 24, will turn to night, and the gold is used to open chests that you see around the world. As you see, that darker variant is the one I'm that's 2. Those are completely free and give you a free ability. And random. These ones are the cheapest. And of course, you would click and punch. Break the tree. Really, it's just easy. And, yeah. You'd break this tree and you would get wood. And also sometimes apples, which, yes, does have a % chance to spawn, so don't expect it to happen all the time. Now, I do not know what I don't know if I've gotten every single power-up, but I will do my best to remember and recollect everyone I've ever gotten. Now, I guess we can start off with the pill, since that's what I just got. The blue pill, as it just said, increases your health by adding a shield, which does regenerate but it only regenerates if you have not been hit. And Dracula, which is a incredibly useful ability, especially if I'm getting it this early in the game, will give me, since I only have one of it, I will get 1 extra permanent HP up increase every time I kill a creature, which includes the cows over there and enemies in general. Oh, and of course, I guess we can go over the chest variants. There is the golden chests, which are the hardest to unlock. At least, I haven't seen any chest that is harder to unlock than this one, which costs 250 gold on, I think, the first day, and day 0. Oh yeah, and of course, there are so many ores in the game. We'll touch on those later. Oh, and here are some shrooms. Now, I'll tell you this. The shrooms are color-coded. If you notice in the bottom right corner here, you have your health, which has a blue thing to represent the shield, which will regenerate. My hunger, which when it goes down, I can't run, and it will not regenerate. As you can see, that is pink. That is pink. So if I eat that, it'll regenerate this. Oh, and yeah, you can move if your inventory is open. A Ligon shroom increases your health. And Gulpon shroom, which is, in my opinion, one of the most valuable, if not the most valuable item in the game, increases your health by around, I think, 20. So I will get these ones. And apples are, in my opinion, kind of just there to replace Ligon shrooms, so you can kind of grind them up. Because shrooms in general have been proven to be kind of rare for me. No. Oh yeah, and there are also different tree variants. Now, next thing I will touch on is what gives you coins, or the ability to open chests, in other words. And that is, well, normally, enemies would begin to spawn. Now, if I had gone in survival mode, which I don't believe I did, enemies would be spawning right now. And I have a pattern to defeat the many, many different types of enemies. And there are also what I like to call battle totems. I do not know what their actual name is, but I call them battle totems because they're just big totems sticking out of the ground. You might call them obelisks, but I call them totems, battle totems. If you press E while this is shown, it will start a battle. Now, I only have a rock, so I do not want to challenge it yet. So, in my opinion, you're probably going to want to chop down 3 to 4 trees. And with the wood that you would collect from said tree, and by the way, with a rock, you can only mine trees. Once you get an axe and pickaxe, you can start getting to the higher tiers of loot. Now, with trees go hand in hand with the other thing, ore. So I will explain everything in their pairs, essentially. So with tree, it is, well, just tree. There is no pair. It is just itself. It's just me, myself, and I. And you'll craft a workbench, which is permanent, and you'll get, after you get 10 wood, it'll show up, and you can craft it. This allows you to get everything else in the game. You're going to want to craft 10 bark, or click on this twice, and make sure you have at least 10 wood so that you can make 10 bark. Then you would go to tools, which is right next to basic, and you'd see these two. You'd click on it, and boom. You'd collect it. And they collect wood pickaxe. These are used for their respective mining, I guess. Or, well, gathering. Axes, obviously, for trees. So now, instead of doing 7 to 10 damage with my rock, I do 20 to around, I think, 13 damage with an axe. And a pickaxe is what you use to start mining rocks. Now, rocks can give you, well, rocks, coal, and flint. Now, flint is, in my opinion, completely useless unless you want to make arrows. But personally, I'm a very melee driven guy. So you use rocks to make furnaces, and you could use wood or coal, which can also drop from rocks, or at least like the big rocks, which I like to call nodes. You could also get coal from these nodes. Now, with all of this, you would go back to JK, no, you don't go back to your crafting or workbench. You would instead go, if you haven't noticed yet, the much darker variant of the rocks, otherwise known as iron. Oh, let me eat up. Right. And another thing, if you're wondering what this weird bar above the health is, that is your armor bar. So, if you get the maximum armor in the game, that should theoretically be completely filled. I have not checked before. Not until now. Sorry, this video is a bit rushed. Now, I will be explaining power-ups as I get them, so if there are power-ups that I realize aren't there, I will attempt to explain them to you. Now, with iron ore, you use this to, of course, make iron. And iron pairs with birch, or in other words, big orange tree. And then you use big orange tree to get, well, green tree except spiky. Very spiky. And that is called a fir tree. So you have oak, which then goes to birch or steel, and then that goes to fir or mithril. So the progression tree goes like this. You would get, your basic wood. You would mine iron for a little bit and get enough. Probably, I'd say 2 to 3 nodes before you'd stop. Maybe a 4th one if you want to. And you'd craft yourself the pickaxe, wood axe, and sword. Now, weapons can only be accessed once you have gotten 5 iron bars and 15 rocks, and then you are able to craft the anvil. Now, before you can even do any of that, you would need a furnace, which costs 15 rocks. So now that I've gotten this, 22 iron, it's okay. 22 rock, not okay. We need a little bit more. So we'd mine, and we'd get that little bit more. Of course, at the start of the game, progression is very slow. But once you get into the farther bits of the game, you'll realize why it's so addicting. Now, with all of this, I would now go to stations. Completely ignore this, alright? No. Just don't even. It's terrible. Bad idea. It can't even withstand one night. Seriously, Danny, please buff those, like, so much. Make it so they can at least withstand, like, I don't know, like 3 hits from Big Chonk. He deals, like, what, 100 damage per hit? Make it so that they have, like, 500 health, maybe 1,000 health. Like, the player can instantly pick them up by pressing R or something. And, yeah, that would be a very nice benefit to these. Speaking to you, Danny, not to anybody who's watching this for the guide. Now back to the guide. You would make furnace, which, yeah, costs 15 rock. And you place it. Doesn't matter how you place it, you can still use it. And I would put coal or wood, either one works, any type of wood, by the way. And you put iron ore in. And boop. Iron bar. A block of iron and unlocked anvil, and all of its steel variants of these. Now, if I want to really use steel, I now have to go get birch. So I come over here to the big orange tree or birch tree and choppity chop chop. I gotta get moving, and I've realized I don't have any hunger. Okay, no, that's done. I will be going after totems once I get my steel sword. Now, if I was playing this regularly, if you haven't caught my last stream, I would normally be going after those with a wooden axe to get early abilities, but I'm in creative, so I'm much more laxated than I usually am. So I'm much more chill. Now, once we chop down, okay, I've gotten terrible drop rates. Terrible. Completely garbage. Okay, see, that was much better. Now that we have, if you're going to make a sword, which I don't think I'm going to wait until I get mithril, which is the next step up, which of course requires big spiky tree, otherwise known as firs, which are like a more brighter version of this, and also very spiky and tall. So once I get that, I will, well, start crafting and stuff. So you'd grab that. With this 12, you'd usually have 15. So I'm gonna go pick up some rocks instead of mining, because with such a little amount I can just pick it all up, and of course get some shrooms while I'm at it, because I'm going to be going after that battle totem right next to my base, very soon. In fact, I'll probably just go after it with my steel sword, because I am very proficient at eliminating my enemies. Like, it's kind of scary how good I am at doing that, especially when it comes to other players. Of course, I have been defeated before, very rarely. And as you can see here, there's other, which would be used to make gold coins with 1 gold. So 1 gold bar would be used to make 5 golden coins, and that, when put in your inventory, would increase this number. Now I'm going to make this, something I've been wanting to make, and I would normally split my inventory like this. Now with the new version 1.05, you can use your scroll mouse to scroll through all your items. But before version 1.5 or 1.05, you had to press the number keys to switch between your items. And you still can, but it's optional. So before that, I had these over here and that right there. So that way everything was more compact. But now I can just switch between everything super easily. Now, of course, you, the player, are probably going to get some steel stuff. In my opinion, the only steel weapon you're probably going to want to go after is, or not steel weapon, but steel tool, is the steel pickaxe. Because with the steel pickaxe, you can start getting mithril, and then upgrade all of your stuff to mithril. Oh, and now, the next part. Enemies. Now, if I'm in creative, the only way to get enemies to spawn are battle totems, which would spawn buff versions of the enemy. And from what I know, ever since the update, it only spawns buff enemy versions. So if you do decide to activate it, you are going to get the harder version to kill. And of course, enemies also have the AI to destroy your items. Oh, and broccoli. One of my favorite and possibly one of the most overpowered buffs slash power-up slash skills, whatever, is broccoli, which regenerates your health permanently. So for every broccoli you get, it increases, or well, lessens the amount of time it takes to heal 1 HP, and also increases the amount of HP you heal. So in one of my best runs ever, I got around, I think, 13 to 14 broccoli, and I was able to heal an attack that dealt around 300 damage. I would be able to heal that attack after around 5 to 10 seconds. It was incredibly powerful. So getting a lot of them is a very good bonus. And by the way, if you're wondering, this is displaying the amount of iron bars it takes. These two both take 5, this one's 15, and that one 20. Same goes for the rest of the armor sets that would fill this up. Oh, and coins. 32. You would use these. See that chest? Too expensive for me right now, and will be for essentially ever because I'm in creative. Now, the one that you're going to want to go after doing probably 1 or 2 battle totems, are these ones. In my opinion, you should just keep doing these ones until you defeat your 2nd to 3rd big chunk. Then you're probably going to want to start going for these ones. And maybe in between, after defeating the 1st big chunk, then start going for these every once in a while, because enemies will be getting increasingly harder. And I get a 2nd broccoli, which now means this ability is doubled. I now have a 2nd one, so it is more powerful. This goes to every ability. So, oh, and one thing with the blue pill, it is ratioed with your health. So I had 100 health, so it added 10 health, and it ratioed the color blue on this health bar. So if, let's say I had 200 health, and I added 100 shield capacity, it would fill roughly around this much of the health bar with blue and the other half with green, so that you proportionately knew this much of your health was a shield and the other half was actual health. Now, in my opinion, the shield capacity is nice early game, but later on to the game it's not very useful, and can sometimes be annoying because it can be very annoying to tell how many of these you'd have to eat to restore your health to full. So you might accidentally overeat, and well, you'd lose a mushroom in the process, which is actually a really big and annoying pain. Now, since I have a steel axe, I am going off to mine some mithril. Mithril is a blue color, so let's go searching. Oh, and yes, you can kill these cows. They will not fight back and don't really run away, and they will drop raw meat, which, yes, you can eat and will not give any buffs and will actually heal health. So they're kind of useful. And when they're cooked, they are the best, like, hunger item in the game. I think you only need to eat around 2 cooked meat to complete your, like, hunger bar from 0 to 100. And they do not drop any coins ever. Now, we're going to continue searching. Oh, and another bonus thing I want to tell you is mushrooms spawn in big patches like this. They can come in big or small patches with a, I'd say, random variation of whether they are, like, mostly red or mostly purple or something like that. Now, as you can see, there is another battle totem. I'm not sure if there's a specific amount for every map, but I just know that there are battle totems in every map. And you can press E to start another one. Now, this enemy is literally called Dave. They will run in a kind of circular, like, half-circle pattern where they kind of come at you and then go off to your side to attack you from the side. Now, my way of dealing with this is to either pick a... Oh, I almost forgot. The last thing to say. Whenever you defeat a battle totem, they will always have an item here, and it will make a sound effect to alert you, oh hey, you defeated it, and a sound effect will play from these that shows you that it's there, and, you know, it just goes to tell you. And it does change on, like, whether the left, like, if you have good headphones like I do, if I turn to the right like this, I hear it from the right side a lot louder than I do the left, and same goes vice versa. And when I pick it up, I get it. Peanut butter, or yummy nuts, gives you more stamina, so you can run for longer without having to eat. And this is very useful later on. In my opinion, it's one of the more common things to get. Now, you can also pick up coal, flint, and rocks just randomly, usually in big packs like this. Oh, hey! And it looks like our search has come to a close. Before I do that, we got more stamina. Okay. And, yeah, if you're wondering, by the way, about the music, I will put a link to it down in the description if you're wondering. Orange juice. In my opinion, one of the most overpowered early game items. Stupid, it's ridiculously good to get this. It gives you plus attack speed. Now, you might be asking me, what's attack speed? Bro, come on. Dealing more damage is way more important. Yeah, no, it's not. Being able to attack faster is so much better. Like, in my opinion, getting orange juice this early is actually overpowered. This is really lucky. Now I'm going to mine some mithril while I tell you about some other things. So the reason why I say getting orange juice this early is overpowered is because, one, it makes grinding for materials much easier. It makes attacking enemies way easier, and when you get a ton of them, like a lot of other people do when they get into the higher days and start defeating chunks for fun, well, it becomes a really big help, because a lot of times the enemies are consistently getting stronger every single day that passes. So if you can deal damage faster, it can be more important a lot of times than actually being able to deal damage, because from my knowledge, the only thing that actually increases your, well, damage to everything in the game are the dumbbells, which are a common item. So you can essentially only get them from the 25 coin chests, which in my opinion you should grind out early game and do as many battle totems and get as many of those small chests before the first big chunk spawns. One of my most overpowered runs, and by the way, a special note, this, when you get more than, well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, yep, when you get more than 6 of these, it will go down and add another one over here until it fills up, and it'll just keep doing that. Of course, he doesn't have an infinite amount of just random pickups, so, you know, it usually like stops around here, and it'll show you all your abilities and how many of them you have. And of course up here, another thing is in the inventory you can check, well, your maximum of everything. So I have 109 HP and 10 shield, which adds up 119. I have no armor right now and no strength. Now I have a 10% chance to get a critical strike, and my attack speed is 11, and my speed is 0. And my max hit, or in other words, the max amount of damage I can deal, is 64. And of course we have all this. And coins. Now, I'd say, yeah, I'm going to set up base again. Oh, and one thing I want to say, you should essentially, if you're ever going to start moving because there are too many enemies chasing you, which, yes, you're going to be doing a lot of moving, especially in regular survival mode when you get into the higher stages, I will say that it is very necessary to pick up your stuff instead of leaving it to run away, because in my experience it usually takes me around a day or two to go back and find it, and then I have to run away again. But a lot of times I will have essentially everything I wanted cooked, or well, smelted is the right word to use. Right here, I'm just gonna grab some oak so that I can smelt. So let me just get some of this. Oh, and by the way, if you do think this tutorial will or has helped you, please feel free to leave a like and subscribe. I am a beginner channel, don't really know much about the website, but I do know that a lot of videos like to put, well, a lot of tutorial videos like to put some music in the background, so I did just that. In fact, I'm going to change it though. It's gotten quite repetitive, so let's go with Bloom. And yep, it's on repeat. Boom. So now we have a different song. Now, here we have our furnace, and oh, and by the way, if you right click on an item, it will give you half of it. And if it's uneven or odd, it will take 3 like that. So if I had 5 coins, I would take 3 and place it here, and the other 2 would be there. So like that. And then when that happens, I would get the more amount. Of course, if you want to like add something to it, you can do that and add it all together. And by the way, no, there's not like a thing to, oh, there is. Okay, so if you hold an item and there's another half of it split somewhere else like this, you can double click. Wait, okay, that was weird. This is always weird for me. So, okay, yeah, so you would pick it up and immediately click afterwards. So if I did that, I would immediately click after picking it up so I could activate the abilities, which is very nice, but it does not take from the field, which is even better. Now with this metal, you can take that. When you're making swords, you need 7 of the bar, and if I remember correctly, 5 of the wood in order to make it. Yep. And then with the like tools, you need 5 of the bar, and I think 5 of the wood as well. Oh, and you also essentially always need wood because you use wood to make bark. You cannot use any other wood besides wood to make bark. So if you're ever crafting tools, you need to get bark before you can actually do that. So let's just grab another tree. Now, personally, I like to get the mithril or like the next upgrade for my sword first, because I usually have to deal with enemies that are way stronger the next night, and it makes it a lot easier to deal with them. I have known from experience, after around 8 to 12 runs, I can tell you with a proud smile on my face that if you are above day 5, you are going to want to have adamantite materials or adamantite tools by the time you get past day 5, because the enemies really start to pick up. New enemies get introduced, known as the, well, as I like to call them, elemental daves. Now these enemies, unlike the other ones that spawn close to you, usually spawn a little bit farther away from you than the other ones that usually spawn like that far. They usually spawn like that far. Now, they usually spawn in packs of 2 to 3. The regular daves just spawn in, sometimes with another, so usually alone. And, oh yeah, another enemy I should add is, as I like to call him, Gerald, or the Bone Dave, I guess, but I like to call him Gerald. He is essentially your character, except without eyes, green, and he holds a bone. Now, he can hit you with this bone or throw it at you. Each attack, I think, deals around 40 to 50 damage, so he will two-shot you. And he has a very low chance to spawn on the first night, essentially guaranteed to spawn on the second night, and guaranteed to spawn essentially every single night after that. So yeah. So let me grab a bit more of this. Do that. And with 22 bars, I can get quite a bit. But before I can even do that, I need fir wood. Or in other words, let's look around, spiky tree. Now, before I can even touch that, I'm going to need a better axe. So, looks like keeping this was a good idea. So let's just get a bit more birch, and we will be good. Oh, and by the way, essentially every item has a very, very short description. YouTube, don't kill me for that. Oh, by the way, in my opinion, if you want to become, like, in my opinion, the best things to look out for are dumbbells, orange juice, broccoli, red pills, and Danny's milk. These 5 items are, like, the most overpowered things you can get to help you, like, survive. The other thing that is essentially a need be, and you're pretty much always going to get every once in a while, are, as I like to call them, sneakers. And these just increase your speed by, I'm pretty sure, 1. Just like this increases it by 1. Oh, and if you want to increase your critical chance, you would need to get a rare item, which is outlined blue instead of white. So common, rare, and legendary. So rares are more, they are guaranteed to drop, well, essentially guaranteed to drop from blue chests. Just like white drops white, or it also has a chance to drop legendaries and rares, but much lower. That one has a much higher chance to drop rares and the legendaries, but it still has a good chance to drop commons. And that one, I think, is literally guaranteed to give you legendaries. Now, let's go grab some fir wood. Oh, of course. Yep, see that? Of course, what I like to do is just throw it out away from my base a little bit farther so I don't constantly pick it up. Now let's go over and get ourselves a couple fir trees. Oh yeah, and remember these black chests? They do not cost any money and are actually quite common. Look at that. Base strength. In other words, my strength is now 10. So if you see here, look at that. I do a bit more damage. Now, yeah, let's go for this fir tree. Oh, and if you're wondering about those weird gray and red, those are called oak trees, and they are the final level. Now, fir goes with mithril, and oak goes with adamantite, which is a green ore. Oh, and of course, there's also another ore on the side called gold, but in my opinion, gold is stupid. It's bad. It's terrible. Don't get it. Don't even look at gold. Gold is terrible unless you're getting coins or something. I really don't care about gold. Seriously, fuck gold. Gold is shit. Anyways, so ignoring my tangent just now, we now have fir wood, which sounds a lot like fur. Anyways, so now that we have this, oh, I have 8. This is actually getting kind of annoying. You are going to want to get at least 10 so you can get the basic tools that would allow you to mine oak trees. Oh, and by the way, one of the legendaries in the game, called the checkered shirt, allows you to mine resources faster. And it should have said, like, it allows you to mine them, like, insanely fast. Like, it's ridiculous. Alright? Like, a tree, if I had the checkered shirt, would have gone down in probably a single hit if I had mithril. Oh, hey. Look at this. Black, and a totem. That's 3, as I would call it, free items. Oh, and as you just saw there, it went up. Oh, and jetpack. To the moon, in other words, you jump higher with these, which is actually very useful when fighting big chunk. Oh, the day never goes up when you're in creative. Cool, good to know. And with more Draculas, since I have 2 Draculas now, I would get 2 health. So this would go from 119 to 121 because I have 2. So if I had 12 Draculas, I would get 12 extra health. Very useful. Oh, and yep, here are the Geralds. They are literally your skin, except no head on the hair, weird ears, and, of course, a bone, which they can throw at you. And also try to hit you with. Oh, and as you just heard there, yep, look at that. The red pill variant of the blue pill, which increases shield capacity, increases max HP. And because I have broccoli, that automatically heals. If I didn't have broccoli, then I would have to find a way to heal that all the way up to max. Which, yeah, sucks if you don't have broccoli. It's actually kind of annoying. And now that I have more gold, I can open a chest. And orange juice. Now, 21. Very nice. Oh, and by the way, if you were playing in regular survival, every single day, like every day that passes would, if I'm pretty sure, every single day makes the chest, I think, around 5 to 3 more gold expensive. So it becomes harder to open the chests, which I think is a very good, like small, but good touch. And I completely agree with Danny's statement on this. Like, he feels that it balances the game out more, and I completely agree with this. Now, get back to what I was talking about. Right. So, you would just progress from steel to mithril to adamantite. And, of course, you need fir wood and mithril to make mithril tools. And then you would use that to mine adamantite, and yeah. So at this point, all that would be left in this video to show you is the big chunk boss fight and the well, the abilities. But I'm gonna save all of that for another episode. Yup, I knew it. I was gonna split this up. Well, I thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.